Some cheap goodies from China to play with today in the solar shed. So without further ado, let's get it out of this shiny reflective bag. Here it is. There's some cables, connectors, and a little box here inside this bubble wrap. Yeah, so this is a portable transistor mini spot welder. Now, I've never used a spot welder before, but I've got a couple of projects that I thought I might use 18650s in, and well, I think this time I want to spot weld, so I bought this super cheap spot welder. And these things are crazy cheap. Look, $20 delivered from China from Aliexpress. I'll make sure to put a link down in the doobly-doo. So we've got a short manual, the unit itself, and two sets of cables, of which one set, oh, it feels quite silicone-y, I didn't expect that, has these probes, which are presumably some sort of copper alloy to actually press down on the cells. We'll try that in a little bit. They're quite short, but I guess they need to be to carry the current and not have too much resistance. There's a plug there, and we'll find out what that's for in a minute, and some short input cables, and they do seem to be a decent gauge. Again, silicone 10 AWG, so yeah, that's not too bad. And they've got spade connectors on the end, so presumably, yeah, the battery goes in here on this side. There's a large capacitor, we can see straight away, a bunch of MOSFETs down there, and the actual output there on this side. So pretty straightforward, isn't it? There is just another PCB there raised up with the screen on and the buttons. Yeah, I might take this apart later. For now, I want to give it a go. Now, I did have to buy a couple of other bits to go with my ultra cheap spot welder. Nickel strip to actually make the connections to the cells, of course. I've also bought this treadle switch, which is a foot operated switch with a very, very short cable on it, hasn't it? That's going to attach to this connector here, which then becomes your manual control of the spot weld. It does have an automatic function as well, but to start with, at least, I think I'll try it in manual mode, so I'm going to have to find a cable longer and put that in there. I also got some crimp connectors. These should fit on my 12-volt lead-acid battery that I'm going to connect up to this spot welder. It's designed for 12-volt batteries of any chemistry, really, but I'm going to use an old lead-acid one here from inside the solar shed. Hopefully it will still have the guts to be able to make some spot welds, but we shall see. So I'll start putting all this together. Right, first of all, I need to extend this, so I think I'm going to need to take that screw out, I imagine. I wonder if that needs to come out. Yes, let's just push. Yep, that works. Push that out. Get hold of it with some pliers. No. Try pushing it again. Compressing it makes it much easier. That springs apart. Excellent. So it seems to be just a fairly standard micro switch in there. So I can replace the cable on that and then try and attempt to put it all back together again. Yeah, that shouldn't be too difficult, should it? Fingers crossed. I've found this old cord from a lamp, which I think is typically 3 amps, isn't it? But obviously we're not going to be drawing anything like that. This is literally just a switch, and it's long enough to get down to the floor so I can put my foot on it. So yeah, I'll put this in. Right, so that's in, and the spring lives there. Get pushed down on there. If I hold that all together, we can see you get the rod all the way through there. If I let go, that should hold it in. Then I think this screw just puts a bit of pressure on the centre of that rod. So so that it won't fall out again. Good. I think that's working. So, contact, no contact. Right, so with my probe down there, that, no noise, noise. Yep, that seems to work, good. I have to say the cores on this cable are very fine. There are hundreds in there. Not convinced it'll be copper, but there's an awful lot of cores. Is that in enough? Yes, I can see it coming out the other side. Once, twice, that's good enough for me. Okay, on the top here it says pay attention to power polarity plus on this side, so that's definitely positive. So I will put my red wire on the positive side and my blue wire on my negative side, and make sure they're tightened up relatively tight. Right, good. Right, with the positive connected, I presume negative, negative, there might be a little crack here because there's quite a big capacitor in there. Oh no, no crack whatsoever, just a beep that surprised me. Or 3 beeps, 2 short and 1 long, which I didn't expect. There we go. Tighten that up quite tight. Right, good. I can see the screen. I don't think you can. Let me see if I can adjust the lighting. Right, sorry for this awful shot, but it's the only way to get this screen to show up. It is incredibly dim, but it does hold quite a bit of information. It's showing that the input voltage of this battery is at 12.6 volts, which I'm prepared to believe. It's been charged, but it's been sat for some time. Down in the bottom right hand corner it says Weld way, and there's a square, so that's with this button, and you can do it either manually or auto. I'm guessing, yes, I think that says auto, that says manual, so I'll leave it at manual for the moment. We've also got some triangles at the top next to the 10E, and this presumably is the length of the pulse. Or is it the number of the pulses? I'm afraid the manual doesn't explain, but that goes up to... where does it go up to? And it stopped there at 99 milliseconds. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the length of the pulse to actually make the weld can be up to 99 milliseconds. But I'm fairly sure we need to be much lower than that. So it was sat at 10 when I started it. Let's give 10 a go. So that seems to be all the information on the screen. Pressing both buttons doesn't do anything. Pressing and holding that doesn't do anything. I think that's it. I think we've discovered everything. Okay, so now I'm going to attach the probes, and of course these, well, they don't really have a polarity as such, do they? They're just probe 1 and probe 2. So we'll screw that one in there. We'll make sure they don't touch each other. Now, having never done this before, I'm actually quite nervous about this because, you know, sparks and stuff. So let's connect one there. I think it's in manual mode. Yeah, it's not doing anything yet. You ready? Contact. Nothing happened. Try again. Oh, there we go. Oh, and oh dear. Can you see that? Oh dear. So that worked. I've got a hole in my bench and smoke came out of the welder. Right, well, I've taken those screws out. Let's have a look inside. The top comes off, revealing the sort of control module with its 3 buttons. Presumably that's a programming header. 2 sets of pins there, and there's that switch you couldn't see earlier very easily, and I totally missed. If I disconnect that, there's the buzzer, the microcontroller, connection for the OLED, a regulator. Yeah, not much else. And the main circuit, as it were, the high current. And let's just have a look at this. So we've got the positive of the battery, goes straight through to one of the probes. The other probe connects here, goes through these MOSFETs down to the negative of the battery. So these are presumably N-channel MOSFETs. And that one in the middle has a big hole in the middle. That one has let out the smoke. And yeah, presumably then most of the current went through this one, which you see that splodge of solder, which could carry the majority of the current, hits that MOSFET first. That solder hasn't flowed down here, has it? So it could have taken the majority of the current, or I guess it could have the highest resistance and therefore it's heated up fastest. Either way, it's definitely gone, but I think I can see a part number on this one, so I might be able to get a replacement, but is it worth it? That was very disappointing. It blew itself up the first time I tried to use it, and not only that, it's put a big hole in my desk and a burn mark. Oh, well, that ends there, I think. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, comment if you can, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.